I think the most important thing about coaching is that you've got to have a sense of confidence about what you're doing. It's hard to stay in the moment in this kind of situation. You get giddy, you know, you got a lot of energy, you got a lot of thoughts about it. You stay really focused.
Tighten up, that's the term. Just tighten up a little bit, not, all right? Not too hard. Loosen up. Listen, if I call a 10 defense, match up and play 10
Новоиспеченный член зала баскетбольной славы в Спрингфилде Фил Джексон.
Welcome back. During his time in Chicago, Phil Jackson earned his reputation as a skilled motivator. Even after he had won the trust of Michael Jordan, he still had to find ways to keep his team focused.
Имеющий уже 9 чемпионских песней,
Jackson prepared the Bulls for the tough NBA Finals against the Phoenix
начинать
Suns.
очередной поход один за другим за очередным чемпионским званием. Раздевалка Чикаго Буллз перед матчем.
Having captured a championship, Michael and Phil grew comfortable with each other.
Phil would put him on the floor in the scrimmages. He'd give him, honestly, the last 4 players on the team. But Michael would look at him and say, Phil, I know what you're doing, but we're still going to win. Now, sometimes after the first series was over and he had lost,
главным бриллиантом
Phil would say, that's it.
вот в этой вот команде
we're going again.
Фила Джексона.
As I start to fall in line with his beliefs about, you know, what teamwork was all about, the dedication of teamwork and compromising your game.
Но талант тренера в том, что он сумел создать вокруг своей звезды достойных ему партнеров. И все вместе они работали как единый организм. И вот, как говорит Майкл Джордан, мы верили тренеру и готовы были идти за ним. Первые 3 титула подряд Чикаго Буллз.
He would then approach Phil about leaving the game.
I could see that he was wounded, and you know, it was just a short, 4 or 5 weeks since his father had been murdered.
It was a very emotional situation for the both of us, and I put it to him. Tell me what challenges are out there for me.
В 91-м, 92-м, 93-м году Чикаго выигрывает 3 чемпионских титула, после чего Майкл Джордан решает на какое-то время отойти от баскетбольных дел. Он просил меня остаться, говорит Майкл Джордан. Майкл Джордан попытался стать бейсболистом, но, отдохнув пару лет от баскетбола, решил вернуться на площадку. Без своей главной звезды Чикаго Буллз не добирался даже до финала Национальной баскетбольной ассоциации. Хьюстон Рокетс становились чемпионами в 94-м и 95-м. Ну а к плей-офф 95-го года Майкл Джордан решил вернуться в NBA. Ну а следующий полноценный сезон Майкла Джордана и очередная победа. Вот этот знаменитый бросок в финале. Победа над Ютой Джаз. Сезон 96-го года. Затем были еще победы в 97-м и 98-м годах. Сэм Смит, репортер с газеты «Чикаго Трибьюн».
Michael was reading the books. He was playing crossword puzzles. He had so understood and so respected what Phil Jackson had done that he began to mimic and copy some of the things and talk about, as you would hear things that Phil said, and all of a sudden Michael would be sounding like Phil, and Michael never sounded like Phil at the beginning, I'll tell you that.
Michael flat out said at the end of his career, I'm not going to play for any other coach. And to me, the greatest player in any sport that I've ever seen.
В сезоне 96-го года Фил Джексон получил звание лучшего тренера года. Ну а Чикаго Буллз добился беспрецедентного достижения: 72 победы в 82 матчах. Единственный тренер, который добился с двумя разными командами серий по 3 чемпионских титула. Три главных персонажа той знаменитой команды: Фил Джексон, Майкл Джордан и Скотти Пиппен.
The triangle is very versatile. You can incorporate just about any personnel. But the personnel of those two teams was different. They had role players that was similar. They had
журналист, можно даже сказать баскетбольный писатель, рассуждает, каким образом вот эта вот троица великих людей с непростыми характерами, как они смогли вместе ужиться и в какой-то степени, иногда наступая на горло собственной песни ради общей цели, шли вперед к очередному титулу.
And then you build it back up again. So the system was the same.
You brought up an interesting personality, Dennis Rodman. So how was Phil Jackson able to get the most out of the worm?
He was kind of crazy, but he
Как же Филу Джексону удалось еще избежать таких вот неожиданностей, неприятностей, которые могли идти от слегка сумасшедшего баскетболиста Денниса Родмана, который вот во второй династии Чикаго в конце 90-х годов также влился в команду и стал одним из ключевых игроков, прежде всего в защите. Он немножко другой, но это не значит, что он плохой. Этот самый Деннис Родман.
Jerry Krause, I think, got a little too much of a swelled head. I think he wanted to take too much credit for it, and the whole thing fell apart prematurely. Right. I think they could have gone on for another year, another 2 years. Just have to change, and for whatever reason, didn't end very happily, but all good things come to an end.
Double championship lifetimes for Phil Jackson in the city of Chicago. Hey, folks, after Jackson's success in the Windy City, his next challenge was getting a talented but troubled Lakers team to reach its potential.
Ну а затем Фил Джексон принял очередной вызов и переехал на западное побережье в Лос-Анджелес.
He's absolutely masterful at blending talents together, and some people may not understand his methods, but if you've played for him,
размолвки Фила Джексона с генеральным менеджером Джерри Краузе привели к тому, что в сезоне 97-98 года Фил Джексон подписал контракт только на 1 сезон, и по ходу сезона Краузе не раз говорил, что Джексон не останется в команде даже в случае, если Буллз выиграют очередной титул в сезоне 97-98. Поэтому Джексон решил перебраться другую команду, а именно Лос-Анджелес Лейкерс, одну из величайших команд лиги. Люди, конечно, помнили, что главным действующим лицом в команде Джексона был Майкл Джордан, и переносили вот эту вот звездность, важность звезды на главного персонажа в Лос-Анджелес Лейкерс, на Шакила О'Нила. И на самом деле так и произошло. Хоть Шакил О'Нил играет совершенно другую роль на площадке, нежели Майкл Джордан. Именно он, ну и Коби Брайант, вот именно эти два игрока, две суперзвезды, привели Лейкерс к тому же, к чему приводил Чикаго Буллз Майкл Джордан.
He understood the principles of the team game, and having a coach that you respect. Kobe didn't have any of that, so Kobe was really like a rookie. So he had to learn all over again.
Real quick, he had been out of the NBA for a year. Any reservations in jumping back into the pressure of coaching?
Yeah, he told me he'd never do it again.
Just like before.
He said I would never do that again, and I happened to be at his house, and we were watching the playoffs on TV. That changed it. The regular season, but playoffs is where a coach is really challenged, and I think that's what he missed.
All right, let's get to the LA story. You see, after winning 5 championships during the Showtime era, the Lakers endured a decade of disappointment during the 1990s. Expectations were high for Jackson to work his magic.
90 сезона 99-го года началась эра Фила Джексона в Лос-Анджелес Лейкерс.
O'Neal and Kobe Bryant joined the Lakers in 1996. Expectations were sky high. With these two talented individual players, it seemed that a championship was theirs for the taking. But for the past 3 seasons, the only thing they shared was disappointment at playoff time.
В 96-м году Шакил О'Нил и Коби Брайант перешли в Лос-Анджелес Лейкерс. Шак провел до этого несколько сезонов в Орландо. Коби Брайант пришел в качестве новичка. Но первые 3 сезона команда, имея 2 таких суперзвезд, не могла добиться серьезных успехов. В это время царили Чикаго Буллз.
Jackson, Michael Jordan, and Scottie Pippen. Now Phil has joined Shaq and Kobe to form a similar triangle in LA and hopes to bring similar results.
Ну вот Фил Джексон переезжает в Калифорнию и здесь начинает строить свое, уже теперь ставшее знаменитым, треугольное нападение.
Been a little unhappiness in La La Land lately about Kobe Bryant.
When there was a focus of whose team is it, Kobe's or Shaq's, the personality of the team never got out. It was like, it was dicey all the time between, what this team was going to be.
To unify his 2 stars, Jackson used his distinctive philosophical approach.
The first time you just kind of cut the lights out. You just had to sit in there for like a half hour or so, just meditating. But
Коби Брайант говорит о том, как он менял философию игры, философию в команде.
You know I want you to use pass and cuts. Kobe, I didn't like that you took that shot. We need to get that pinch post vital right now.
There was no one that I wasn't going to at least challenge. And as a coach, you have to do it, because if you don't do it, nobody else will.
These are disciplinarians. I'm used to having disciplinarians in my life. That's what I'm used to. That's probably what I need. He has a system. If you want to survive in his system, you listen to the general.
Now you're starting to get some momentum. Don't let it slide. Let's go.
И Шакил О'Нил, и Коби Брайант, Джон Сейли, запасной центровой Лейкерс в те годы. говорят о том, насколько помог им Фил Джексон своим талантом понимать баскетбол. Совершенно революционный, другой взгляд на баскетбол прививал своим игрокам Фил Джексон.
I think the best thing, and what people are saying, and the media is saying perhaps, they're seeing a kind of a joie de vivre between Shaq and Kobe because they hook up together in some really great stuff. And that, I think, is very special.
Those two have complimented each other as well as any two Laker players in history.
Our team that we have this year is completely different from teams that we had in years past. Shaq and I understand one another. Shaq and Phil, myself and Phil, we understand one another, and everything else just kind of fell right in line.
Коби Брайант рассказывает о том, как они с Шакилом О'Нилом чувствовали друг друга. Каждый знал, что будет делать партнер в другую секунду. Ну и наградой за это стали 3 чемпионских титула Лос-Анджелес Лейкерс в 2000, 2001 и 2002 годах.
Phil's gonna be able to calm us down in certain situations and guide us through certain situations. And I think the sky's the limit for this team.
All right, we thank Ahmad Rashad for helping us out there. Take a look at the LA numbers for Mr.
В сезоне
Jackson.
2001 года в плей-офф Лейкерс проиграли всего лишь одну игру в финальной серии Филадельфии 76ers. 4-1 в пользу Лейкерс закончился финал. Все остальные серии Лейкерс выиграли в сухую.
It was to show him that this is how we win. Kobe was very stubborn, and he had to convince Kobe every year. The 3 years they won the championship, Kobe came into training camp resistant. Shaq was hurt 1 year, so Kobe had to kind of do everything. So Phil had to kind of invent the wheel 3 years, reinvent the wheel 3 years.
Но в итоге противоречия между Шакилом О'Нилом и Коби Брайантом накапливались. И все тяжелее им было сосуществовать в одной команде. Коби стал говорить часто, что Лейкерс — это команда Коби. Шаку, разумеется, это не нравилось.
Everything worked off of him, and he got a chance to show that he could score, he could pass, he could make decisions. So that's why one reason why Shaq bought into it really quickly. But it took some doing. But Shaq had Phil's back.
Final question for you: you're proud of your colleague and the job he's done?
Yeah, it's nothing that I didn't expect. You know, before he left, I predicted he'd win 5 championships in Chicago and 2 in LA. So he did go over.
It's great having you here and talking to you about your old friend, Phil Jackson. And once again, thanks for joining us on the show.
It's my pleasure. It's great being had.
All right, Charlie Rosen here with us. Folks, we need to take another time out. Some final thoughts are coming your way, and a look at the Hall of Fame career of referee Mindy Rudolph. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Hall of Fame class of 2007 consists of 5 coaches, 1 team, and the 13th referee to earn a place in Springfield. Marvin Mindy Rudolph.
Продолжаем знакомиться с новоиспеченными членами зала баскетбольной славы.
But it was his command of the game and unique style that sets him apart as an all-time great.
Mindy loved the sport. He loved basketball. He loved the NBA.
На очереди
That was his stage.
Now there's going to be disputes out there, and if there are,
тренер,
my word will be the final judge.
Судья Национальной баскетбольной ассоциации, один из величайших арбитров. В истории NBA, проведший 2112 матчей Национальной баскетбольной ассоциации, Марвин Мэнди Рудольф.
And the fact that he could work so many all-star games, so many final playoffs, that's a tribute to his legacy.
It tells the world this is one of the best referees ever, on and off the floor. He was a referee's referee, and we all tried to copy him, and no one ever did.
Родился в Филадельфии, в штате Пенсильвания. 2112 матчей за 25 сезонов, 8 матчей всех звезд обслуживал Мэнди Рудольф. Как минимум одну финальную игру 22 сезона подряд. Первым среди арбитров добрался до отметки 2000 матчей за карьеру.